Welcome to GCCars, my name is Eric and this is the most technologically advanced half-ton truck in the world. We've recently tested the pre-refreshed GMC Sierra and Chevy Silverado, and while they were good, due to their age they were just always kind of behind the Ford F-150 and the Ram 1500. But enter the refreshed Sierra. This is the GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate $100,000 half-ton truck. 2022 is here, so we now got $100,000 trucks, and it is quite good. It is quite good because this bad boy packs so much technology. Specifically one thing, it's not an Escalade, yeah, okay, but if we look inside here, you see that little thing? That's the trump, that's the ace card that this Denali packs. Super Cruise. Yes, Ford has Blue Cruise, but it's not nearly as good. So this bad boy here can drive itself on most highways in the US and Canada. So if you drive a long way, this might be the truck to get. But of course they did a lot more. And we're going to talk about that. How do you differentiate them though? 2022 versus 2021, what looks different? Well, the biggest changes up front. So we have the dark chrome Vader grille. I kid you not, they call this Vader grille, which I think is appropriate because this looks freaking fantastic. It looks mean, it looks sinister. The headlights, great design. And for the rest of the truck, honestly, it really looks pretty much the same. It's still Onyx black, like I love it. It's really the color you need on a Denali. And we still have our fancy multi-pro tailgate here in the back, even with the kicker Bluetooth speaker for all your tailgating party needs at football matches or wherever you go, or your local NASCAR track if you're more into motorsports, right? Really the changes are up front, but I think the ones they did really make this nice. But how do you tell if it's a Denali or Denali Ultimate? Well, there's only one spot where you can do that. Look at the fender, and if it says Ultimate, you know that person is loaded if they drive this, or they have a business where can they write it off. Anyhow, outside was always kind of like good. I always liked it. Why don't we take a look at what really matters and where they really had the most catching up to do? That's the interior, shall we? Of course, we electronic steps because comfort and convenience. And boy, did they upgrade this interior. First of all, of course, we get the engine running now, so I love V8s, guys. I love V8s. Anyhow, the materials are such an amazing upgrade over what we've previously had in the Sierra. This is just leathers everywhere. This is all super nice, and still this is a very, like, how do we call it, like flat, clean leather, so you can, even if you work, you can get it dirty, you'll get it off and clean easily. The wood is really nice. It's beautiful wooden trim, and we have the topographical maps and the Denali coordinates. So of course Mount Denali, it used to be called Mount McKinley, now it's just called Denali, namesake, right? Etched in there. You have it on the seats. Just look at these seats, look how beautiful this is, and they really paid very much attention to detailing. This is what I expect for $100,000 in a pickup truck. Very good job. Of course, speaking of the seats, they're super comfy. They're heated, cooled, massaging seats we have in here now as well. This is really nice in terms of just usability and comfort. Great job, GMC, really great job. And of course, technology, they gave that quite a bit of an upgrade as well. So first of all, we do have a digital gauge cluster. Now, gone's the old analog gauge cluster. This is fully digital now, really customizable to whatever you need and whatever you want to see. Works really well. We have a huge head-up display, works amazingly. You can have it set up for cruise control, you can set it up for off-roading, whatever you need, of course. And then we have this new infotainment, this huge infotainment cluster. It is based Android Automotive, so it's the Google software, and you have Google Maps integrated. You don't even need to like connect your phone, which you can, by the way, wirelessly, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. But it's all right here. It's just integrated, and it works really well 90% of the time. The 10% of the time, which is mainly after you start this truck for a bit, it takes quite a while for the whole system to get going. So the first couple of minutes, this is a little painfully slow. Google Maps, you might start your truck. After half a minute, you're gonna go into Google Maps, enter an address, and then it just doesn't calculate the route. So after a minute, you have to cancel it and then just redo the same thing, and then it'll work. Or if you, say, are an Android Auto, and you adjust your seats, which you do with a little dial down here, It'll take over the whole screen, which is, by the way, very unnecessary, especially if we have the split already on the side. And it'll take it forever to kind of like adjust that. It's a little unintuitive. And then once the screen for the adjustment goes away, it goes back to the main menu. So instead of staying on Android Auto, it just goes back to the menu, which means you have to then click again on Android Auto to get back to where you were, and do that every time you adjust your seats. Little annoying, but overall still a huge step up compared to what we previously had. Give it a bit of refinement for 2023 or 2024, and then we're good on here. And one more complaint. You see this Red Bull? Not sponsored. Unfortunately, I am poor, and I highly suggest you not drinking this because it's quite unhealthy. Being said, I do need a little bit of energy. So you see this, right? This is a normal Red Bull can. Not a single one of our 2 billion cup holders in this truck fits a Red Bull can or anything that size. They are all made for whatever the big 7-Eleven things. I forgot what they're called. The big one, the gulps, the mega gulps, something like that. So we can't fit this here. What does that mean? Well, you know, you go to the gas station, you crack open a cold one, being a Red Bull, don't drink and drive, plop it in here, go back out on the street, it's a little bumpy, and whoop, you spill your Red Bull literally everywhere. So General Motors, once I give this truck back, you notice, hey, the passenger side is a little sticky. Yeah, that's why. Can we please have cup holders that adjust for small things? That'd be very nice. Other than that, we have a digital rearview mirror, which I love, and I hope it makes a way into every car and every brand because these are fantastic. Of course, we have a wireless phone charger, easy to use, and the back row, it's a truck. You have plenty of space, plenty of comfort. You got it heated on both sides. No, this is really, really good interior. But how does it drive? Let's find out. Now on the road, traction control off, sport mode 4 high. Yes! And here we go. I love V8s. I love V8s so much. What a wonderful, wonderful invention the V8 is. Okay, let's go back into normal. Let's go 2 high. Turn on auto start stop. Turn on traction control. So how does this drive? How does this drive compared to the previous GMC Sierra Denali that we've tested last year? And the truth is, to be honest, not much different, for better and for worse. So let's start off with the good stuff, which we literally just experienced. I continue to say I love this drivetrain. This is the 5th time I think I'm driving it. We had it once in a Silverado, we've had it in 2 Sierras, this one and the previous one, and I've had it in 2 different Escalades. And I still just absolutely adore this drivetrain. The L86 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 producing 420 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque is a joy to drive, especially made it to this 10-speed automatic. It is just, if we discount everything that's electric and everything that is meant to be sporty, this is my favorite drivetrain in any car. Any internal combustion engine non-sporty car, this is my favorite drivetrain. I just love this so much because it is butter smooth. You have so much power, you have so much torque. The shifts and the gears are always the right ones you want. This transmission does a fantastic job. No, I just love this, and every time I have it, I'm telling you, I absolutely love it. The diesel, you can get the 3-liter diesel. It's great on fuel economy. It is a little coarser though, and it's just not as powerful. So if you can afford the extra gas mileage, get the V8. But we always do a little bit of a transmission test, right? So 50 kilometers an hour, 37 miles an hour, normal mode, we're just cruising, and then we're going to floor it and see what happens. Double downshift and power and sound. Oh my god, I love the V8s. Yeah, so like I said, this transmission, this engine, absolutely fantastic. I love it. And the turbos we got in the Raptor and we're going to have in the Tremor we're testing soon, the V6 turbos, they're good, but they're just no match. This is fantastic. But let's talk a little bit more about something else, because I said to you that it drives pretty much the same for better and for worse. And for worse is when we talk about ride quality and suspension. And for that we have the usual road, which we test all the suspensions on, which is just as horrible as it really can get. It's just patchwork and potholes and everything, and you see and you hear that, right? it is not a good road. But this does ride not perfect. It is noticeable. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, this is still a truck. It is still comfortable for most of the time, and at slower speeds, 40 kilometers an hour and under, you really don't notice anything bad. But this sometimes does get unsettled a little bit by bigger bumps, or you will notice that the front and the rear axles kind of react differently to bumps. So the front might be, due to the weight on it, likely very stable over the bumps, and then the rear just kind of moves around a little bit. There we literally just had it. Perfect timing. It just happened. So the rear just kind of like jiggles around a little bit, a little left, a little right. Like you don't really need to intervene in it. Just it is a little jarring. It's a little unsettling. So other trucks definitely have the Sierra, unfortunately, still beaten in terms of ride quality. Like I said, still a truck, still rides well overall, but I wish that would have been one of those things where they would improve it, but we probably have to wait until next generation for that to improve. But a good thing again, NVH, noise, vibrations, and harshness, very nice. It is a very quiet cabin, and it's always a little hard to compare like one car to another after a year in terms of noise levels, but I feel like they just quieten it down a little bit for this new Denali Ultimate, because I really don't hear much from the outside world. And even road noise, tire noise, all that is for the most part very well isolated. And what I do hear is of course wind noise, because this is a giant brick essentially, and I do hear the V8 occasionally if I floor it, or if I give, want to demand a little more power, which is fine. I don't mind hearing the V8 because the V8 sounds great. Little handling test as we usually do, but that's we're gonna go very easy on this one here. And yeah, I should have turned traction control off, but like I said, that was just a very easy. It's if you push it a little more, I have my on ramp where I can always try it out. It does drive fairly well. It's a truck. It's not gonna be a beast on handling. That's really, literally nobody cares about it, but it's fine. It is safe. That's what the important part is. And lastly, of course, we do have tech. Let's start talking about our Bose sound system, which is really good once you turn down the bass. The bass is way too strong in the default settings, so turn that down like a good notch, like 4 or 5 steps, maybe up the treble, up the mids a little bit, and then you'll have a much more enjoyable listening experience. But once you do that, it actually sounds really nice. And of course, Super Cruise. We've already alluded to it, but Super Cruise is absolutely fantastic. I have a whole POV test drive, which I'll point to you in the top right hand corner once that's available, where we literally just Super Cruise, we test it, I'll show it to you. It is absolutely amazing. If you drive anywhere where there's often, you're often in congested roads, or you just drive very long distances on the highway all the time, this will be such a relief for you, because Super Cruise just makes it better. When I live in Toronto, I have traffic jams and congestion all the time everywhere, so I like driving, but whenever I hit a traffic jam, I'm just, all right, let's put on Super Cruise. It does the job. It'll get me through, and as soon as traffic flows again, I'll take back over. I love Super Cruise. It's amazing. It's the best system I've tested out there. Like I said, Blue Cruise is not a competitor. It's just not nearly as good. The only thing I'm not entirely sold on yet is the automatic lane changes that this can do. It's pretty cool, but if you're on more heavier used roads and highways, it doesn't really have the awareness necessary to be able to pick a road, pick a lane for what's going to happen in a minute or in 2 minutes. So it can be a little more, left and right, a little more confused by what it wants to do. It does a very solid job of changing the lanes. It just doesn't pick the best lane all the time. Maybe some if you drive through Kansas, that's probably better. But other than that, you can turn it off. No, Super Cruise is great, and other than that, driving tech, you have whatever you need. Emergency braking, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, yada, yada, yada. Super Cruise is why you're here, and Super Cruise is why you stay. And with that being said, I think it's time to send it off to the final thoughts. Okay, final thoughts on the 2022 GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. And I think GMC has done a fantastic job refreshing this, because they have addressed most of the issues that we've had, while also giving it the standout feature that is Super Cruise. And I think that is really the main selling point here. Of course, it is limited to the Sierra Denali Ultimate, so you got to pay a pretty penny to actually get it. But if we're looking at a truck and looking at all the trucks, and you want to have the most comfy commuter truck to go from A to B, to go from work sites, or whatever you do with your truck, this is it. It is comfy, it's got massaging seats, and it's got Super Cruise. like I said, the standout feature. Admittedly, the only F-150 I've yet driven is a Raptor. We're getting another one just in a few short weeks, and I was supposed to have a Ram, but then that had to be cancelled at the very last second, and we're gonna get into a Ram later on, but I've had my experiences in them before, I just haven't reviewed them. And if I had to pick one to commute, the Sierra Denali Ultimate would win that. Now, with that being said, of course, with it being limited to the Sierra Denali Ultimate Super Cruise, that is, and this being the top spec, this is very expensive. I've already alluded to $100,000 in the intro, and to be fair, the window sticker does say $97,693 Canadian, which isn't much less than 100 grand. But the thing is, it is 2022, we had a bit of a jumble up in our economy and all that, so if you go onto the website now and build one yourself, you end up at over $100,000 because it's gotten more expensive. Is that worth the money? It is hard to say because $100,000 is a lot, but you get a lot of capabilities of a half-ton truck. You get Super Cruise, you get comfiness, and a loaded F-150 comes out the same, and it doesn't have Super Cruise, and the Ram is a little bit less, but you know, it's just a little bit weighing this up. But I think it's a fair price. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload videos about literally everything that's in the car and truck market every single week. We got POV test drives on top of that. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to love yourself, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Thank you and goodbye.